So who likes heater cores? I don't. You gotta completely strip the dashboard down to get the heater evaporator box out. And it goes in and twists and tucks up under there. So I was unable to get the camera where I wanted. So I got it out. So anyway, here's the heater box, heater evaporator box. Heater core is somewhere on this side and the evaporator somewhere on this side. So you got to take this top completely off and move some stuff and be able to get that heater core up out of there. So I'm going to do that and see what the hidden treasures is inside of there. Bad thing is to get to the blower motor, I believe you have to, well, I think it has a little door you can take off, just this front side, to get to the blower motor. Because that would suck to have to do all that just to get the blower motor out. Split somewhere in here. Stuff like this you gotta really be careful with. So there's two hidden screws up under this floor vent. Just like that. Swing out like that. It's like opening up a treasure chest. Got it right here. I think it's this little flap. Probably need to spray some lube at it. Ah. Oh man. Alright, let's see. How does that go? Make this simple as possible. Without breaking it. So we got some little dirt dauber's nests and look like a mouse house. So that's probably where my heater core went, because there was dirt daubers and mouse house. But you can see all the antifreeze in there. So here's a notorious heater core. I bet you it's held in with some kind of screws. So we'll get that pried out of there. Yeah, there's a screw. You can see it. There's a screw right behind here, but it's up under here. Let's see if we can get that out. So just lift up out of there. Well, I'm gonna have to set you back on the tripod. I can't do it one. Careful, there's some power lines running through that little seal. There's the heater core. And it had to be leaking somewhere. Looks like right in there. Looks swollen. Right up in there. Like it might have froze up and bust. So that's no good. So we got our new one, which I'm gonna get all that stuff out of there. heater core that came in today. Brand new. So we'll get it opened up. Make sure it's the right one. Nice and shiny. Brand new. Look at that. So that appears to be the same heater core. I'm thinking this one looks kind of fat. So it goes in like this. Appears to be it. It's a little difference in it, but I hate the seal I don't have. Look like they would have sold it with it. Not a big deal though. Screw back in and it will be good to go. I can't see. Hard to see down in there. Light. Take care of that. Heater core is now in session. Now we just got to put the top back on. Who needs instructions? Make sure everything is sitting where it's supposed to be. Gently put it on. Right now I'm not worried about the air conditioning because it's still winter time, and I'm not going to go buy an evaporator core. turn the heat on, and hopefully we have some heat and no leaks. So this is the power steering pump from the Daytona. I'm going to attempt to rebuild it. I've already got the pump taken out of, this is the reservoir, and it basically just sits inside of here like so. There's a seal that goes here on the shaft, which is in the kit. This seal right here. So I went ahead and tore it down, just kind of cleaned it up. But this is the shaft seal, and that is the bushing that goes behind the seal. Whoa, something fell off. What was the O-ring? This bushing goes behind the shaft down in there, which this one does have some kind of play in it. So we're replacing that. So basically it's just got some screws, and this is the part where your hose go. That all holds the pump together inside of the reservoir. Those two bolts, and then that's where your hose go, right there, where your fitting goes. So this kit here, it is basically, it looks like a GM pump. It is a precision, sorry about that, precision pump. I can't get it right. It's kind of cold out here. So we got all our instructions up here on how to break it down. Now that kit can go to 2 different types of pumps. So this thing was just leaking constantly. Every time I would put power steering fluid in it, it would just leak its butt off. So I decided how I like to do things is rebuild it, preserve it. So instead of buying a new pump, I figured I'll just break this one down, put all new seals in it, because that's what I like to do. So anyway, to break this down, it's got this big old ring clip in there, and there's a little hole right here in the housing that you have to push with it like a nail or something. Let's get some light on this here. So you stick a nail, a penny nail, and that will push that ring out of the housing. So let me find a nail. And I don't know if a nail is going to be strong enough. I think really you have to roll this thing around to that nail hole so you can push just that side. Probably have to tap it around there. I've done plenty of Ford power steering pumps. I haven't did this GM/Chrysler style. You should be able to push down, stick the nail in there. Oh man, that thing is in there. I'm gonna have to get something more solid. The nail's not gonna work. Something with a handle on it. Maybe this will work. Nope, that's too big. too big too. It's also too well. Now this torque screwdriver look like it will work. It's gonna be hard to push down, and might have to put it in the vise. I think I can get it. Hate the thing to come out and hit you in the face. That would suck. Oop. Yeah. So we got that removed. And there's supposed to be some O-rings and some a valve back there. I don't know if we'll be able to tap the shaft. Maybe it'll. Don't sound like it's doing anything. It should come out of there. Actually, I can see that bushing right there on this side. She ain't budging. We gotta figure out how to get that out of there. Oh, I think we figured it out. You tap on it and it just comes out of there. So that's the cap. There's a spring. Then we have to remove this other piece here. Gotta be extra careful, because it's got all kind of little small items in there. I don't know if I'll be able to grab this or not. There is an O-ring right here on the outer edge, I see. Gotta somehow get that out of there. I don't know if I think I got it. I just don't want stuff to go flying out everywhere. Okay, we should be able to pull that out with some. So we got this plate here. I'll just lay that right there. And then there's another O-ring down in there. Now these right here are called the valves. That was it's like an orbital valve. That's what makes the fluid pressurize, I guess, or move around as this thing turns. Make sure all these O-rings stay in one spot. Still got some fluid in there. Pin. So we gotta make sure that goes back to where it's supposed to go. There's another pin there. Let's see, can we knock this out? Very careful, because those little, what they call valves, are like, look like they just ready to just fall out of there. It's like the bushing is actually pressed inside of the housing. So I have to get that out of there somehow. Give me a hard time. Alright, keep it together all in one piece. That's going to be impossible. Actually, there's a snap ring that's holding that. Alright, so there's our shaft. So those pins, they actually stay in the hole. One goes there and one goes here. So as the pump turns, the shaft turns, is actually, the fluid is being pedaled around by these little valves inside of there. And that's what's building the pressure. So we'll gently set this somewhere. Won't get damaged or fall apart. So now there's the bushing that's in there. We got to press that bushing out of there. And there's two O-rings inside of there also that we got to replace. So my main focus will be getting this bushing out, and we'll get the new one back in. So that's going to be basically hammering it out, or I could use the press and press it out, but I think with a screwdriver and a hammer we can knock that out of there. So I'm going to gather up some stuff and we'll get that out. So I got a 5/8 socket. I'm going to put it on top of the bushing. See if I can get it to knock out of there. It's moving. I don't want to hit my hand, that's for one thing. See if we can just find an old extension we can put up there. Man, that is right on the money there. So we got the bushing out. It does have some wear marks in it. I don't know if you can see in there. It has like some little scrapes down in there. Kind of hard to see. So it does have wear. I don't see anything on the shaft. And the shaft does have some light grooves. I don't know if that line there is supposed to be there. I do see some pieces of bushing, so the bushing was starting to wear out. We'll just put it back together and see how it works. I mean, it was working before, it just was leaking so bad from the housing seal. It was just pouring out. So let's get a clean rag, wipe that out. Make sure there's no debris in there. Probably want to clean that out with some brake cleaner or something. And we got to get these O-rings out of here. We can get them out of there without scratching up anything. Which I think that cap just sits down in there. Those O-rings are pretty hard. They don't want to come out. That's crispy. Crispy number 2. So I'm going to take this, spray this out real good. Then we'll put the bushing back in. Make sure there's no trash down in there. Everything looks nice and clean now. Make sure there's no pieces of paper towel in there. I've had that happen before. Alright, I'm happy with that. So now we need to put the bushing back in. This is a new one, so we got to be extra careful. It can go in through the front. We need to get all this debris off here. Probably need to put just a little power steering fluid or something on there. That way it'll kind of slide in there kind of easy. I could put it in the press and press it in. I want to get it straight. Let's see if we got a block of wood. It's made out of, looks like a light aluminum or something, brass, copper. I think it's going in the wood, but it didn't hurt it though. I'd rather it go in the wood than bend. Put it on this side. Probably gonna have to put it in the press, get it to go the rest of the way, because and then slow down. We gotta clean the press off. Then we probably can use this to press it in. So let me get the press cleaned off and get this pressed in there, and then we'll finish putting it together. So what I did, I got it pressed in there where it's almost in. Got it on the press. I took this little square piece of metal. This thing here is real flat. Just set it on top of the bushing. I set that there, pressed it on in there. So now I just got to get it in the rest of the way. I found this, it's like a nut that has a flat head on it. So I think I should be able to set that on top and press that down. Just gotta find something to make it high. Maybe something like that. As long as it's flat and flush. I could find something else, but this should work. Make sure it's even with the hole. Now it was in there flush with the housing, so we should be able to get it on down in there flat. That net. I think it needs to go in just a little bit more, but it's there. So to get it a little bit more in there, we could flip this around. No, I don't like the way that feels. Let's see if we can find something. Maybe a small washer. Maybe we can lay that washer on top of it. Should be good enough. Because it's got to be flush because the seal goes in there behind it or in front of it. I would say that's flush enough. Right there. I don't think I can get it in there any further. You can see in there's just a little bitty hair of, it needs to just go just a little bit further. I would like it to go a little further. Let's see if I got another washer or smaller nut. Smaller nut will do it. Bet you guys are like, no, don't mess with it. Leave it alone. I always strive to do more than necessary. Just a little bit. I'll say that's it. I like that there. It's basically flush with the housing. On the back side is flush evenly. So we'll start putting it back together. We'll get the seal in. I mean the shaft in, then we can put the seal in, put the pump, all that stuff back together. So we will transfer back over here to the bench. So now it's time to start putting it all back together. We got to put our O-rings in. We'll probably put some power steering fluid on those so everything go back in smooth. Okay, now we got to put in our pins. I believe we need to put these in first because we got to put in the shaft. Which that is going to be difficult to do. So I guess we just need to leave it like this. Maybe stand this up if we can without it falling. We don't need those O-rings anymore. Maybe we can lean it on this block of wood. Probably need to just put it in the vise. It'd be easier. So we'll go over to the vise and we'll be able to drop it back down in there. That way the shaft can go all the way through. Because we don't want to drop those pieces. Man, that's scary. The vise slipped, man. I was like, what is going on here? So I'm going to easily lower it down. It won't stay in the vise for some reason. There we go. Gotta find those pinholes. This would be best if we just take that out. It's kind of rough. I don't think that shaft's got any burrs on it. Let's pull it back out and take a look. We don't want those to fall out. Shaft looks pretty good. Let's put just a little bit of grease on there. Should just slide right on down in there. There. That's back in there. Turns. So now we need to put this little plate piece back in there. Which I see how it lines up. First I want to take a little power steering fluid. Put it on them seals. Just a little bit. Okay, so this piece here has got to go back in. Make sure there's nothing on it. Trash. Some sharp edges. Maybe the O-ring should have went in first. I'm thinking the O-rings go in first because it's catching up on them. The old O-rings were flat, so I don't want to cut those O-rings, so I'm just going to take them back out. But I don't think, let's see. If I take the top one out, maybe. There we go. Had to take the top O-ring out. Then we can put this O-ring back in. So just take the top O-ring out so that plate can drop back in there. much easier to work in the vise. Okay. So now we got the spring that's got to go in. Sits on the back of the pressure plate. Probably put a little grease on the outside of this plate because it's got to slide down where that O-ring is. And then we put the retaining ring back in. Just a little grease. So we got to put this snap ring, retaining ring, snap ring, whatever you want to call it. Put it back in. And that's going to be a job there. Because it's got to press in and go in at the same time. Might have to put it in the press and press that down with something. Then I can get the ring in. So we can use this hammer. This is when you need two people. Hotline. Nobody don't never call unless you're busy. So now I got it in the slot. It's halfway in there. I'm gonna try. There. Make sure it's in there. So now that's in. We got some O-rings at the back we got to replace. It turns. There's no play. I mean, it feels nice and tight. And we got to put our front seal in, which we can do that now, I guess. Get the vise back straight. We need to get some use grease or power steering fluid. Probably just use a little power steering fluid. Slip it on there. I was going to put it in first and try and slide the shaft down through it. I was like, no. Trying to line that up probably wouldn't be a good idea. So we'll lightly tap it in there. Once you take it apart, you probably won't even need the instructions. You got a photographic memory. So shaft's in, seal's in, turns. So we got to replace these little O-rings at the back. And then we'll start putting the reservoir back on. So I almost forgot there's an O-ring right here. This is the main O-ring that keeps the fluid inside of the reservoir that we need to replace. This is the one that was leaking. This O-ring here. Make sure clean in the groove. No trash in there. And then got the new O-ring, which goes right here. And we got these O-rings on top. There's two flat ones. Looks like that might be it right there. There's a small one. I think the skinnier one goes on the fitting where your power steering line goes. Think about it, you have to put it together like this, because if you flip it over, all the O-rings will fall out. We got one here because this seals around the screws. There's some extra ones in here. Now I'm thinking this one, I was thinking it goes in here. This is where your actual line goes, but that don't look like that's thick enough. Maybe there's just extra ones, because it does say it will go to 2 different types of pumps. So maybe that's just an extra one, some extra ones in the bag, because that one don't go there. Well, here's an O-ring here. So maybe this O-ring here goes here. It looks thick enough. We'll find out. We'll take it off of here. Because that one's hard as a rock. Anything you can change, change it. Trying to get it up off of here. Oh, that didn't go well. Too bad trying to preserve that. Let's clean it off. Now, I think this O-ring is for this part here. It's going to be today. So yeah, that O-ring is for that part. Now some extra ones, and looking at the instructions, I don't know where they go. I think they're just for the other type of power steering pump. That's all we had. So there's also a magnet that picks up trash, and it was just stuck on the back of the pump like that. It just picks up trash, any metal shavings or anything. So here's the reservoir, which it's got to go. Well, probably need to make sure this surface here is it's not bent. I say we put a little power steering fluid around there. Just a little bit. Make it slide together easy. Yep, that's gonna be the hard part. 'Cause you don't want to pinch that O-ring. I think I want to use just some grease. I think the grease will make it slide easier. I'm scared the power steering fluid a little bit too thin. Well, I see one problem with it. Right there, the tank has got a dent in it. Like somebody pried against it. So I guess we need to fix that. That can cause a leak. I'm glad I seen that. Somebody was trying to tighten the belt up. So I guess we need to move this over. Focus on got a big dent right there. Looks pretty smooth. Might be a reason why I was leaking. I think that'll do it right there. Fine details. That's what you have to look out for. Alright, let's try this again. might fit. There we go. Alright, now we got the screws we got to put back in. Thinking went in the opposite way. Those are 18s, I believe. Just want to snuggle. And then, thinking this is a, what do they call that? That is called a flow control valve. So the spring goes in first, then the flow control valve should be springy. And then this is your pressure union. That's what they call it. Put a little grease on that O-ring. And this is supposed to go down like that. Pump body union seal. I think that is a 15-16. Which I had somewhere. And up here somewhere. Where are you, 15? Oh, I had it on the impact. Now I used the impact to take it apart. And there it is. We got to put the pulley back on, put the bracket back on, which you use a power steering pulley puller. So pumps back together. So we'll get it all back together, back in the bracket, get it back in the car, hook it up, and hopefully that solved my power steering leak. So now it's time to take a break. So I'm going to try and change these inner tie rod ends. These things are wore slap out. I drove the car just a little bit past the house, and these wheels are just flopping. So these inner tie rod ends are junk. On top of the tires feel like they got flat spots in them. So I don't want to try and drive it anymore. So I ordered some inner tie rod ends. I hate putting these things on because you got to use that special tool to put them on. So there's the inner tie rod end. And I had to rent this special tool to get it off with. So it has like these little wrench looking things. So I would guess you would put that inside of there. Put that inside there like that, and then your tie rod end will hook onto that, which this is not the right size, but it goes in there like a wrench, and you put the ratchet on this end and you screw the tie rod end out. So I'm gonna attempt to do that because I really hate to, but like I say, these wheels are just really moving around. A lot of play. So it's about 28 degrees here in Tennessee, Memphis, and ain't very much to do this evening, but sit in the house. So I'm gonna take these wheels off. We'll try and get these inner tie rod ends on. So I just got the little rubber boot off the inner tie rod end. It's still in good shape. It's not torn. So we'll just put that back on there. But just look how wore out the ball socket is. Look at all that play in there. That thing there, it's been on there probably ever since the car was new. It has all kind of play in it. Listen to that. I mean, any minute and that inner tie rod end would have just came apart. So I think this one might have a Carter pin that goes through it to keep it locked in place. I know the new one, has, I don't know what I did with the other one. Somewhere over here. The new one has this, looks like an Allen bolt that you gotta loosen up, and then you tighten it back in, and that will keep it locked in on the rack and pinion shaft. So hopefully that one's got it, and I can just turn it out. Some of them have like a little clevis pin that goes through there, but I really can't see it until I get up under there, so I'll get it out and show you. But yeah, that is completely slap wore out. Alright, so I got the inner tie rod in. The little wrench looking thing. I guess you put it up on there first. Then you take the long tube, slide it up on there and lock it in. Sorry about the noise, it's extremely cold. So I got the heater going. Lock it on there and then tie rod ends on, but they usually strip out. I think this one is the more better one. I don't think it was locked all the way on. I think what the problem is slipping off of there. Kind of pull out and turn the ratchet at the same time because it'll slip to the back. Slow process. There we go. Take your time and do it. Get to some light. So here it is here. Look how loose that is. That is just wore. Look at that. That is just wore out. That was ready to come apart. First hard bump I hit. And it's like this on both sides. This one don't have the locking set screw or Allen bolt, or some of them have like a clevis pin. So I'll get the new one on, get the tie rod end back on the outside, and I'll move to the other side, and then we'll see exactly how much play we got now. Shouldn't have none. I don't see the rack leaking. So that's a good sign. Okay, so this is the driver's side, and just like the passenger side, look at that. It is just completely wore out. I mean, there's no grease in there. So this was another inner tie rod that was just going to give out. First hard pothole I hit. So we'll get that ripped off and get the new one in. See, can we get our tool on there? Gotta have the right size. That's it right there. So that fits on. Then we'll use our puller. Now learn you have to pull this locking wrench forward and hold it forward. I think you hold, yeah, you hold it forward while you turn it, because it'll slide back off of the tie rod nut part. See, can I do this? It's just a slow process. There you are. The old wiggle wiggle, jiggle jiggle. That thing is trash. So, out with the old and in with the new. Get that surface cleaned up where the clamp goes for the little boot that goes over it. And I didn't have any squeeze clamps, but I found just some small clamps to hold the boot on, which is real cool. So I know it takes those squeeze clamps. So I just basically found just a regular old clamp. It's the same diameter and width as the squeeze clamp. It'll go around the end of that boot and clamp back onto the rack. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get all that back together, and we will get wheels back on it, which I got some new tires for it. So I'm putting the 195 60s on the front and the 205s on the back. So I got two here, and I already got two other ones. Well, one of them's already on the car anyway. So anyway, I'm gonna get all this back together, and maybe we can take this thing down the road and see how good it performs with the new tires and inner tie rod ends. As you can see, this is the old front tire that was on the Daytona. It's got quite a bit of flat spot in it when I let the air out of it, but amazingly, this thing's been holding air since I brought it home a couple of weeks ago. This is the passenger side. You probably can see the dry rot cracks in it. But as soon as I let the air out of it, it immediately formed a flat spot. Notice I'm using the Tire Changer 1000. issued some bead sealer. That's to ensure that the bead don't leak, especially on these aluminum rims. I do those three, we'll get them on the car. And I also bought some front brake pads for it, so I'm gonna throw those on also. Flat spot. These tires are so dry. scarred up the other rim a little bit. Try not to do this one. But the clear coats look good on it anyway. They're kind of rough, so it really doesn't matter. But don't want to make them look too bad. You know, if I keep this car, I'm probably going to put some more up-to-date rims on it. Come on up there, dry ride it. Two down, one more to go. Alright guys, I've been out cruising the Daytona around. She's doing pretty good. Didn't want to get too far from the house. Transmission shifting good. Gears are so close together. It's got that usual front wheel drive shake. I'll let you guys see it in the daylight. It's about 28 degrees out here today. Well, I think it's 25 now. So there she is. Back on the road again, finally. Gonna need a good little paint job. Still got some other stuff I gotta do. I gotta get me a radio, that's for one thing. I was able to require a tag for it. But yeah, she's running pretty good. Since it's got almost everything new up under it. I still got to figure out the headlights too. I was told there's some kind of module up under the dashboard, right at the top. It's called the conceal headlight relay, and usually they go bad and the headlights won't go up and down. And I got to replace the ignition module because sometimes if you wiggle the key, the heater and stuff will come on. So that's why I got all this out, because I was checking it and I found out sometimes if you wiggle the key, you can turn the blower on, but the ignition module on top of the steering column is bad. And the sensor on the door shows the door open, but I don't care about that. But I got to get me a radio. That headlight module is right up under the dash pad, and that's what all that sticky stuff is. They said they're known for getting hot and they just puke all over the place. That's what ate up the other temperature control for your heat and air. So I was able to get this hooked up without the ring. It's supposed to be a ring here. You pull it up and pull it and go forward. That'll be for reverse. But I couldn't find another shifter. I looked all over the place and I couldn't find one. So I just have to just go with what I got. But you just got to be careful when you go to put it in first. if you're not careful, you'll go in reverse. But I'm not worried about that. But yeah, she gears shift pretty good. See, I went reversed in. Clutch is good. Oh, that's second. This is first. Like I said, I didn't want to get too far off and something happened and end up breaking down. Speedometer works. All the gauges are working. So yeah. Well, that's gonna be it, guys, on the Daytona for now. Like I said, I still got a few little bugs to work out of it, but it is running and driving now, and it's saved from the crusher, from sitting down in the salvage yard for many years. So the thing is so quiet you can't even hear it run. So it's cold out here today, so I am getting out of here, going to get some warm heat and fire up some food. So till next time, y'all hang in there, be safe, stay warm, and like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like I say, there'll be more to come on the old Daytona.